excited to find um, members for this new board. Finding members for this new board who all have availability in July seems a bit optimistic to me at this point. It's not a lot of notice, and it is the summer. But if they are available, that's wonderful. If not, I would actually plan for a meeting probably in the first half of August. And I think in terms of our community, they're going to want to know about this board of directors and have a solid understanding. And while we will be hopefully appointing them June 12th, I also think it's very important that early on in August or September, in one of those first board meetings, we introduce the board of directors and have, again, another presentation about their role, have all of the items available again, just like we did in June to a certain extent, because there are many parents and community members who may not be able to tune in for our June 12th meeting, but will be back in the area in August.
Yeah, yeah, idea. No, yeah, great. Okay. Shall we move on?
Sure.
Okay. I can start item 8, informational items. So the first one that has happened since you all last met is just on May 8th, the Board of Trustees approved a one-time rent credit for Mountain View, Wisman, and City Pioneer, call them our Pioneer residents. And yeah, sorry. And the idea behind that was that our Pioneer residents have endured a lot of construction interruption in their lives that has sort of gone on longer than I think anybody planned for. There's been restriction on access, delay on access, especially access to shared amenities with the 2 other buildings on the site. So the Board of Trustees approved a package of credits that we set up a pretty simple system of the number of days they had lived there and basically took the cost of the budget to maintain the 20%, our 20% share of all those shared amenities, figured out per unit number, applied that to their time in place. And then there was a second piece around laundry services that extended the period from the gift certificates that went out in April. So that got done. The property manager has entered those numbers that are unique for each unit into the system. People have been notified. They've already got a lot of feedback. Like, wow, that's a good surprise. Thank you very much. So it seems so far that people really appreciate the thoughtfulness and sort of the rationale for that. Just to give you a flavor of the range, so these are people who would have moved in as early as, what was that first April, early April, right? I think it was, February. Yes, thank you. So starting way back in February up to May 1st move-ins, the range of those credits per unit is anywhere from $295 to $993, depending on number of people, the size of the unit, and the duration. So meaningful help, and things are starting to fall in place pretty quickly over there. We are told that all the amenities are finished. They're opening up like storage units for our building in the garage next door. There's additional bike storage in the garage next door for all of our residents. Washers and dryers, permanent ones started showing up today, right? Or this week.
I think the next step is coordination a little bit because the new washers and dryers, they're industrial washers and dryers. And we wanted to make sure residents had access to washers and dryers at all times. So there'll need to be some coordination, but they're available now.
To provide context for the other members of the committee who aren't on the Board of Trustees, the Board of Trustees directed our team just to get washers and dryers in, even while we waited for the formal industrial ones, so that there has been laundry access.
Which, as it turned out, helped to solve one of the problems we discovered, which is the electrical system had some hiccups in it when they plugged in those big machines. And so we're in a warranty punch list thing trying to figure out like, why is that happening and getting it corrected. So it's good that we had that sort of stopgap to help people still be able to get their laundry done in the building. So that was good. Um, so that was the rent credits. The other updates I have for you is I've got a handout that summarizes the rental lease up activities. Just kind of gives you a snapshot of where we are. It should be pretty self-explanatory. There's three boxes on the sheet. The top is district units, the middle is city units, the bottom is combined, and then the color coding indicates the type of unit. So the upshot here is that this does not reflect just this week, apparently a significant bump in the number of people who have been expressing interest. So when I heard the property manager say, wow, all of a sudden we're getting a lot of calls, people are emailing and coming in. Right now they have an active pending interested list of some 157 district employees and 17 city employees. Now, that descriptor could be quite a spectrum of, yeah, I'm kind of interested, or I'm thinking about the future versus, gosh, I really need to get my housing situation figured out pretty quickly. But it is an indication that the rent concessions that the Board of Trustees approved is starting to pay dividends. We are told that there's several new hires that will have contracts on July 1st that have gone through the application, been tentatively approved, and have paid their deposits. So they're lined up, eager to move in, and they just need to get the contract with their starting salary, and then they can sign a lease. So right now, the trending feels positive, and there is kind of a nice buzz. The property manager has a new assistant that just started 2 or 3 weeks ago. And so there's two people in the office now, and they're both pretty busy, just doing a lot of this kind of work. So I think for me as an outsider looking into that part of what we're doing, the lease up that is going on, I think we're right in the bulge in the middle because we're starting to get a lot of activity. But as you can see, we still have 65% of the building to lease out. Yeah, it's noteworthy that the 120% AMI units are lagging behind the 80%, which is not a big surprise, but it's definitely there.
Probably the obvious question is how do we get more rented than units for the 1-1 city?
Yeah. So this is convoluted. So there's one unit that's allocated for an on-site maintenance manager that works for the property management firm. And that essentially is the -1. And I couldn't convert my arithmetic on here to match up their much more sophisticated report. But it basically just backs up that unit from the rentable mix. So once I figured it, it's like, oh, of course, it's not for rent. It's part of the cost of running the building. All right. I mentioned.
Sorry, just to make sure I have it. So there aren't 20 of those units, but one of them is rented by the on-site property or maintenance. And then, but actually, that isn't one of like the rentals that were. Okay.
It's not part of what we have to offer your community. Yeah. It is. Yeah. But it's not available because it's part of the overhead. It's part of the overhead, essentially. Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it. Just a couple of things on outstanding purchases. So there are still 2 deliveries of community space furnishings and decorative things like artwork for walls and accent things. We're waiting for a firm date. It's like now. They said mid-May, and we're already past that. So we think it's kind of right out there on the horizon. But most of the significant furniture is in place. It's been used now for several weeks. I'm told there's lots of social gatherings going on now that people have there's also lockers for packages that come in by various carriers. Each unit will have their own locker. Um, Actually, that's probably not true. There will be enough lockers so that there's a system of your package is in locker number so and so. And those are supposed to come in sometime in the next 4 weeks. But it doesn't seem to be causing any problems because right now the delivery services are coming in the lobby. They just take the packages right to the door. And because we're still at 30-ish% occupancy, it's not like the halls are filling up with boxes. So right now it's okay. Those are on the way. And I think that was it on purchases.
Hopefully getting everything in before there are any tariff impacts or
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah. Yeah. My understanding is that almost all of this was in the pipeline well before all of that started to happen. It's still just taking a long time. Some of it's special order and just takes time.
What mail? Where are we on that?
I forgot to put that on the list. So we now are official with the U.S. Postal Service. We have an address. There's a real building. It's like, yeah. And so residents have been advised what to do to make sure that they get the change of address in the postal system. There was one additional funny thing that came up this last week that the property manager was going to track down yesterday just to make sure that if anybody has questions, she knows what the answer is. Part of it's just access to the postmaster. Apparently, that particular facility is only open like 2 days a week for 3 hours or something. It's very restricted. But yeah, so people know that mail will start coming as soon as that change of address takes effect. Yeah, it's a good milestone. And then the last item was on the list for updates was any discussion update on with the city about the 150 AMI. And I don't know that there's anything new or different there, right? Okay. I believe that's all the items I had. Happy to answer any questions and or turn it back over to committee.
Thank you for that update. My understanding is this is the last convening of this committee. Is that right?
Potentially. The board hasn't officially disbanded the committee, so it might be that maybe in August there is a joint meeting or a warm handoff with the directors for the region board. But this might be our penultimate.
Okay.
I'm sorry. We have one more.
I'll be late in last.
Well, thank you very much for the update. It has been a relief to have a close eye on things going on and making sure that the site is running smoothly. It's great to see these tenancy, these occupation numbers go up for the units. And I'm sure there will be more discussion at the board level around the rental rates and continuing to make sure that we sell the rest of the units. And then, Councilmember Ramirez, if you think of any recommendations or ideas for people who might be a good fit for the board of directors for the corporation, please do encourage them to apply.
What is the means by which interested parties?
I think we forced to put together materials that we're going to ask them just like a 1-page bio or career highlights and some other information to get it into the system. But right now, I'm happy to just take calls or emails from people who might be interested. I've taken a few calls from people like, hey, I heard this, or hey, trustee asked me to get a hold of you to learn more. So just having those conversations seems helpful. And certainly it's helping me understand how they are thinking about considering whether they would want to apply or not. So yeah, I'm happy to, in the short term, do that. And then once we kind of figure out exactly
I think we need to do that as soon as possible and have it portable on our website. Because that's less than 3 weeks away. And or maybe exactly 3 weeks away. That's not a lot of turnaround time for anyone interested in applying. So we should get that live as soon as possible.
And then just to clarify, so would staff get the applicants and then seek trustee approval for the trustees interview?
I don't think we know yet what the trustees are gonna wanna do.
We need to
Yeah.
Well, no.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that'll be part of the discussion.
Do you have a recommendation?
I think you're right. That there will be a lot of community interest. I think erring on the side of caution, at least for the inaugural body, probably interviewing in public setting, like we did with the
The house rental commission,
Yeah,
EPC,
something like that.
it's a great idea to model it.
Okay.
Anything else? If there's nothing else, then my goodness, 6:21 p.m. We will adjourn this meeting of Not Wisman Housing Oversight Committee. Thank you everyone for your participation.